Alright guys, today we're going to be making turkey spiced meatballs in pita. It's delicious. Should take about 25 minutes, so let's start the timer and get going, okay? So first we're going to get out our pan. And I've noticed this kitchen is not very big and not very nice, and I don't have all the nicest stuff, so that means you can do it too, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start by cooking up the aromatics. So that's this spice blend right here. This is like, it's supposed to be za'atar, but we don't have za'atar, so we created our own. So let's add a little bit of that in there. And then we need to cut up the garlic. So grab your garlic. What I like to do is I just crush it with the bottom of my hand. So you just crush the garlic. A lot of the stuff comes off pretty nicely. And actually let's grab a paper bag to throw all the stuff into. And nothing cramps you down like having to go back and forth between the trash can and your cooking area. So we need 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. So let's take the pan off the heat while we're waiting. So if you cut off the top and then cut off the bottom, and then you kind of run the knife down the middle of it, you can kind of peel off the papery stuff. Or you can just cut it straight in half and peel off the papery stuff. I don't like it because sometimes it's hard to separate when you cut them in half, but there's 1 clove. Just kind of work at it. 2 cloves. Pick the biggest ones because the bigger ones are obviously easier to separate. You can also just use those like garlic, they're like in oil you can get in the store. Those are kind of nice. Sometimes I like using those. You just don't want to take the time to cut up the garlic. It makes it faster. So keep separating them. You can also just rub them kind of in your hands and they'll separate pretty well. There's a lot of tips on YouTube about like shaking them in bowls and everything. I haven't found anything that works super well. So let's clean off a little bit of that space. Then we're going to dice it up. So how you can dice garlic is if you kind of don't cut it all the way apart, just kind of like feather it like that. And then just bring it down. Or you can just kind of chop it like that. And if you just chop it enough, it'll usually get small enough, so watch your fingers. There's the proper way to cut is actually to have it bounce off that part of your finger, but my knives aren't big enough because I don't have nice knives. This is like a paring knife instead of a chef's knife, so we're just going to be careful instead, as you should be as well. Then I'm just going to bunch it together and keep chopping. Just want to get it to a good size. Okay, we're going to push that off the edge and throw it in with the spicy blend. And then we need to throw in 2 tablespoons of oil. So let's grab our olive oil. Any kind will do. I like extra virgin. I have no idea what it means, but that's what I like. So, and then let's grab our Christmas spatula. Can mix that up. And you're gonna let it cook 1 to 2 minutes until it kind of gets fragrant. That's what they call it, aromatics. I don't really know why they call it that, but that's what they do. So we're gonna let that go on medium heat. One thing I like to do when I'm cooking is just keep setting timers. So if I need that 1 or 2 minutes, I'll say, set a 1-minute timer.
Okay, it's set.
And keep going. So then we're gonna prep our lettuce as well. So this is butter lettuce, or there you can also use bib lettuce. Oh, let's clean this off. So kind of grab your cloves that you're still gonna use later maybe, throw them out there. And the rest is just that paper stuff we can throw away. Scrape it on there. Alright, so just grab your lettuce and cut out the stem kind of part. And tear that out. That away as well. And then just kind of tear it apart into bite-sized chunks. When you tear lettuce, it actually doesn't get brown quite as fast because the cells kind of tear right along the cell lining instead of getting cut apart. Cool little trick. Let's just grab like a bowl and we can throw that in there. And we can wash that off a little bit later. Now you can hear this cooking, so you want to make sure you stir it pretty frequently. And there's our minute, so we're doing pretty good. Yeah, let's turn that off. It's not quite, I mean it smells great, but it's not quite as fragrant as I want it, so I'm going to let that go for another minute. And once that's done, we're going to throw it in a bowl with the meat so we can mix it up and make our meatballs. Let's let that cook away and we'll keep cutting things over here. So we're going to need to zest this lemon. You can either just like cut off the, where's our lemon zester? There we go. You can either just cut off the rind really thin and then chop it up. But if you have something like this where you can grate it, it's a lot easier. So just grab like a bowl or something and grate the lemon zest in there. You want to go pretty deep, but you don't want to go too deep. You don't want that kind of like pithy white stuff because that has a lot of the bitterness, where the rind has a lot of the oils that you want. So we want the oil and not the bitter. Keep grating that. See, I've worked my way almost all around. I have a good amount of lemon zest in the bowl, but I want all of it because it's zesty. And you might as well, because you can never have too much lemon zest. Okay, now that is done. And I can smell our aromatics getting nice and aromatic over here. Let's mix those around a little bit. Take them off the heat. Okay, that's looking good, so we'll turn that off for right now. Now we need another bowl. I don't have another bowl, so I'm going to use this pot. You can pour the aromatics in here along with the lemon zest and the ground turkey. So you need about 8 ounces of ground turkey, but the packages that the store sells only come in 20 usually, so just use half of that. A little extra turkey never kills anyone. So we're going to open our turkey. Open that up, split it in half, and throw it in there along with the lemon zest. We're going to form them into meatballs. This knife touched raw meat, of course, so now I got to wash it. So wash it or grab another one. And let's put this back in the fridge. You don't want the raw meat sitting out. And wash your hands as well. Turkey's usually fine, but better safe than sorry. I always go for the towel you wear in your body dry. Works the best. And now we're going to start making this. So we're going to mash it up with the spatula. Try to get that zest all the way through, along with the aromatics. We want to form that into like, I don't know, 10 little meatballs. You don't want them very big because you want them to cook evenly and all the way through and not get super dry. So smaller meatballs are better. Keep mashing that up. Make sure we get all that wonderful flavors all mixed all the way through. We're going to season with salt and pepper, even though it already has some salt and some pepper, I think, actually, in the spice mix, because salt and pepper are delicious. We're going to use a lot of salt and pepper and a lot of olive oil in basically every recipe. Let's grab our salt and pepper out. You should really always use the peppercorns, because when pepper is ground, it loses its vitality after a while. And so when you have like that pre-ground pepper, it's not super great after a few months. And if you're like my family, we never use all the pepper before like 10 years. So you're gonna wanna use those peppercorns just because they're a lot easier. So now we're gonna heat up 2 more tablespoons of oil. So we're gonna put that pan back on there. And I really never measure my tablespoons of oil, I just use a little bit. We're gonna start that heating up again. We're gonna start making the meatballs. So if you don't like touching meat, this is unfortunate because you kind of have to, but you can touch it less by using just like a tablespoon and kind of scooping that out. And kind of using the tablespoon to form it, so you don't have to just manhandle it, I guess. But you do have to touch the raw meat. I apologize. So let's work all these meatballs in there. Remember, smaller is a little bit better because we want them to cook all the way through and not get super dry. But not too small. That one was a little bit undersized, so I added some more to it. It's always best to use a non-stick pan if you have one, because like cast iron or stainless steel work, but you have to oil it a lot more, and sometimes it sticks a little bit and it'll pull your meatballs apart. So non-stick is awesome if you have it. It doesn't have to be this big. You can use a tiny frying pan if you want, because they don't have to be that spread out. You can have your meatballs touching. Got basically 2 more meatballs in there, I think. There we go. So we used all the meat. Let's throw this in the sink to be washed later. I like to grab this and kind of move them around a little bit. You don't want to move them too much because your meatballs really aren't cooked that much, but I want the oil to spread around a little bit. So just give them a nice gentle shaky shake. Let's turn them down a little bit. So we're going to cook those for 8 to 10 minutes, flipping occasionally. So let's set it on a 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer.
Okay.
And we'll let those go while we're preparing the rest of the things. Wash our hands again. Okay. So we're going to cut apart the shallot. The shallot is like, it's kind of a lighter onion. It looks kind of the same, but it tastes a lot. It's not quite as heavy a taste, and it incorporates into, I don't know, dressings and flavors better. It's like a light onion, I guess, but it tastes awesome. So I'm gonna chop that up. Put that away. This is the same idea. You can, when you're cutting it, don't cut all the way through it, just kind of feather it. Watch your fingers. And then you can just kind of take it apart. And it makes it nice and easy because it holds all those strings together. And then when you get to this last part that's not cut, you can just kind of cut it straight down. Or you can just like chop it like crazy. It doesn't have to be super fine, but finer is better for this dish. This is going to be in the dressing, so you don't want any like huge chunks like that, right? So we're going to chop everything up. There's our 2 minutes, so let's go flip those meatballs. So how I like to flip them is I just grab fork and spoon and just kind of gently turn them over. This one's kind of coming apart, you can see that. So you got some beautiful browning on the bottom there. Let's flip those around. The oil does pop a little bit, so precaution on that. It's not too bad. You come a little fast for my taste because you can see they're kind of like super brown right there. I mean, it's great. So it's going to turn it down a little bit. We want them to cook evenly and all the way through. Okay. Another 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer. Okay, now we're going to combine the shallots with the juice of 3 lemon wedges. So we cut the lemon in half. I'm going to quarter it again. I guess quarter it first with half. And then you want to peel all these seeds out because you don't want those, so try to like kind of knock them out. You can kind of dig them out with a knife a little bit. And then also when you're squeezing it, you kind of hold your hand like this and then kind of feather it through your fingers. You can kind of catch a lot of the seeds before they end up in your dressing. Although I did already lose one, I can see that, so I'm going to grab that. Remove seed. So we want the seeds to stay out of our dressing because they are quite a jawbreaker if you hit them. So squeeze it in your hand. It's one. Sometimes you want a little bit of that pulp in there, it's fine. Just not the seeds. It's 2. And that is 3. Okay. Meatballs are looking good. Timer isn't running yet, so let's go ahead and work on the sauce and the dressing. So we've got to cut apart and grind up the cucumber. Oh, there's our timer. See, that's why we said timers, because you get so wrapped in other things you forget about what's happening. Well, let's kind of turn them over again. You can use the side of the pan to kind of try to hold them on a certain edge that hasn't cooked quite yet. Or you can use the other meatballs, kind of clumping them together. This side's really pink right there, so let's turn that downward. And kind of hold it up on the other meatballs. Okay, so we're going for 4 minutes of our 8-minute times. Let's set a 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll go back to making our dressing. So we got to cut up the cucumber and kind of grate it up. So let's take off the ends because no one likes the ends. And honestly, if it's stuff like that, like if I don't want to eat it, just don't eat it. Cut it out, you know? Like it doesn't, you don't have to be super picky about that kind of stuff. We use the small grate, so let's use the larger grate. This one, if you don't have a grater, you can just cut it up very finely, but it's a lot easier to grate it, so. It's grated pretty well. Let's grab a bowl or a plate to put that into. Make things a little bit easier. I want to clean up and also I'm getting it. So we're just messily grating this up. Taking time every once in a while to clean out the grater, otherwise you just start packing them in there and you start compressing your cucumber. One time I grated a whole block of cheese into the cheese grater because I didn't realize it was in there, and it basically became a new block of cheese inside the cheese grater. It was wonderful. So this recipe calls for a small cucumber. I only have a big one, so we're going to save that, and we're going to call that good for right there. So we're going to combine the cucumber with the juice from the remaining lemon wedge, and then we're going to season with salt and pepper to taste, obviously, because we season everything with salt and pepper to taste, seems like. And we're cooking awesome things. We also have seeds, so let's keep those seeds in the hand. Get the juice out. You can hear the meatballs are done, but my hands are covered in lemon juice right now, so I gotta finish this before I can go grab those. And even with all my carefulness, I still lost 3 seeds in there, so let's pull those out. Kind of have to watch that. It's the one bad thing about squeezing fresh lemons is the seeds. Kind of mix that up a little bit. And set that aside. Wash your hands again. So let's flip these on the other side now. Looking good. Okay. Move our pan around a little bit because these guys were cooking pretty well, these guys weren't. Whereas we have a small burner, so we're going to make sure to move the pan around to get the heat going. And you can kind of grab some of that oil and pour it over the top. Kind of baste them a little bit. Make sure you get that nice olive oil on all the parts of the meatball. What would we do without olive oil? Thank the Italians. Turn that up at just a tear. 2-minute timer. It's not the last one. We're at 6 minutes now, so that'll be 8 minutes total. So we're going to season this with salt and pepper to taste. It's not always says to taste, but you never taste that. Like, I'm not just going to eat that, so I don't know why they say to taste, but whatever. Spread it around. Okay, so we're going to combine the Greek yogurt with the cucumber. So let's grab another spoon, mix that in there. I tell you, Greeks and Italians, they knew how to cook. Am I right? And Americans, actually. We make everything better, I guess. So we're gonna mix that around and incorporate that in. Oop. I just splashed yogurt all over myself and the cameraman, camerawoman. The good news is it's white and not red. Okay, that's done. And now we're going to put some olive oil into the mixture of lemon juice and shallots. It says 2 tablespoons again, so once again, a good amount. And kind of mix that in there. A little bit more oil. That looks good to me. Okay, that's done. Set that aside. Come over here, check our meatballs. Some of these are looking pretty done. Some of them, like this guy, not so much. So we'll try to get those not so much guys into the hot part of the pan. If you have a smaller pan, sometimes the whole pan is hot. That's kind of nice. I do not, so you cook with what you got, right? The best meal you can make is the one you can make. Throw that olive oil on top there again. I'm not going to overcook these by leaving them in here, so I'm going to leave them in for another 2 minutes because it said 8 to 10 minutes. If they're getting done, I can just pull them out, right? You don't have to cook them all at the same time. You can just pull them out and put some on a pan or a warming plate. We're just going to leave them all in there. Then a 2-minute timer. 2-minute timer.
Okay, 2 minutes is coming.
And I made one mistake that you are not going to want to make, so I'll put a note in this video. You're going to want to start a pot of boiling water when you first start cooking for the snow peas, or the snap peas. I did not do that. And I used the pot that I have to boil the water for the meatball, so I gotta watch that real quick. And then start that boiling so we can cook the peas. So that'll slow us down a little bit. If you had done this already, you'd throw the peas in right now, so you'd be on top of things. But I missed that step. So But to make up for it, I can use hot water and use less water, right? You get it boiling a lot faster if you don't use quite as much water. So let's put that on. Put that on high. Okay. And now we're just waiting on the meatballs and the boiling water. So while it's boiling, I'm going to turn the oven on to like 200 or warm. You throw a few of the pitas in here. You cannot forget the pitas because they will burn and then you'll be really, really sad. So take 2 pitas out. Just throw them directly on the rack. It's fine. And you want to warm them. You want to make them nice and warm and maybe a little crispy, not burnt to a crisp. And for some reason that is smoking something fierce. Ruben must have spilled something on the burner. It's okay. Just to test, we're going to split open one of these meatballs, so just make sure it's done on the inside. And as you can see, it's looking pretty good. So that was the most kind of pasty looking meatball. It didn't have any of the charring on the outside, that nice caramelization and stuff. Not caramelization, what I'm saying, the charring. So we're going to assume they are all equally done, which is great. So we can actually turn off the heat, and then we can pull these off. The pan will kind of keep them warm as we boil the water. And so we can start getting our plates ready while we're waiting for that. Pull out our plates. And check our pitas. Don't forget the pitas ever. They're actually looking pretty good. Not quite there yet, so I'm going to turn this on to warm and then set a 1 minute timer so I don't forget. 1 minute timer. So you can see my water's almost boiling, which is awesome. So I'm going to take these snap peas and I'm going to throw them in there. So some people say that you should take off this kind of hard string that runs along the spine of the snap peas. I've never really believed in that because, I don't know, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think they're super stringy. So we're just going to toss all these in straight away. Watch the splash. It can be hot. Give those a little stir. Make sure they're mixed around. So we're gonna cook the snap peas until they get bright green, right? We don't want to overcook them. We don't want to like turn them into mush. But while that's cooking, we want to get a bowl of cold water to pop them into when they're done. So let's grab some cold water. Throw a few ice cubes in it. That's a reminder for the pitas, which is great because I literally forgot about them. Yep, those pitas are done. So not burning yourself on the rack, pull them out. Those are looking great. You can see the beans, or the peas are changing color. Like this one is pretty dark green, that's looking nice. This one's a little pale still, so we're gonna keep cooking them. We'll grab those ice cubes. Crack a few ice cubes into that ice water. The purpose of this ice water bath is just to stop the cooking, right? Because we want these peas nice and fresh and crispy. We don't want them to turn to mush, so they're almost done. So we put them into the ice water to stop that cooking reaction very fast. You can see they're all pretty green. That one's a little pale still. We have enough 30 seconds. Turn the oven off while we're waiting because the pitas are no longer in there. Okay, I think those are done. So we're gonna pull them. I don't have anything to drain them with, so I'm just gonna use this fork. You can lose a lot of your peas on the sink when you do this, so gonna be careful. And don't burn yourself either. That's always a bad thing. You want to enjoy your meal, not a trip to the ER. Right, now we're gonna pop in the ice water. Stop that cooking reaction. Turn the burner off.
15?
Yeah, or 20, I can't remember. The sensor starts heating up. All right, so those are done. So now they're cool enough we can touch them, right? So we can just drain them with our hand again. So you don't lose any of these deliciousness. Let's cool down a little more. So now we're gonna toss the dressing. So we have all our lettuce kind of in, losing some of it. Get that out. We have our lettuce, and I didn't wash this, so make sure you wash it. So get a little shot with cold water. If you have a salad like washer, those little spinny things, they're pretty sweet. I don't have one, so we're just gonna do this. Just kind of hold it in there and give it some good shakes. You want it pretty dry because you're gonna be putting it on top of your pita. You don't want it to make your pita all mushy. No Greeks ever ate mushy pitas, let me tell you that. Then you're gonna take your salad dressing. This is a salad dressing of shallots and lemon and olive oil, and you're gonna pour it over the top. Kind of clean it out there. You don't need to stir it because you're gonna toss it later. So then pull these peas out, throw them in there. Once again, kind of shake the water off. You don't want, no one wants mushy pita. Pour that out. Now we're going to combine this. So kind of give it a little toss. If you have a bigger bowl, it's easier. Once again, we make do with what we have. This is going to be the inside. It's going to go inside of your pita sandwich with your meatball, as well as being kind of a little salad on the outside. And the tzatziki sauce, or the cucumber yogurt sauce, is going to be kind of the dressing and the topping. It's going to be delicious. So that is looking great. The old hand will wash. So I'm going to take this over to our plates. We're going to spoon 3 or 4 meatballs on each one. This is when you put on your white chef's hat and get on a clean apron and impress whoever you're cooking for. If it's yourself, impress yourself because you just made that. Grab a nice big handful of that. Make sure you get some nice peas in there as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make this one look all fancy like. So we're going to put that right there. Then we're going to top it with the meatballs. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. Then we're going to grab a nice healthy heaping of the sauce. Put it over the top. Top that one as well. And we're going to roll it up. And we're going to try this sucker. Oh yeah. It's fabulous. And that's how you do it. So let's see, what was our time? 33 minutes to a delicious spiced turkey meatball pita. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make dinner. Thanks for watching. Over and out. I'm gonna set that aside. Alright, now we gotta get back to these. We got these for about another minute. We want them to get deep red and have that